See if there's any customers in here today. Looks like not any unless they're in the back.
Me. Yeah, that's why I'm here.
Okay.
There's no time to play footsie over confidentiality. He's my patient. The man
Do that
clearly
real quick,
poses a
YouTube.
threat.
Past Lexington on 85 to visit my niece,
Uh-huh.
and I actually had passed this cop car that was between two trucks, and I looked down and
Uh-huh.
I was doing like it was 55 around Lexington at that time. This was
Yeah.
years ago. I was out of work, so I was about 26, I guess.
Is it,
And,
okay.
I went down there, and all of a sudden, car comes speeding up behind. Well, first of all, I'm driving, and all of a sudden, I have a Cougar,
Okay.
pale yellow Cougar with a black top. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
you got long hair, 26. Got the whole thing going on, the whole hippie thing going on.
Okay.
And I remember that this Cadillac, pale yellow with a brown top, passed by me, and this was August about. It was late in the evening, the sun started to set,
Mm-hmm.
So all of a sudden, this police car comes, the lights come on behind me, and I'm going like that, and the guy said I'm doing 67 miles an hour,
Right.
and I'm going like, no, I wasn't doing 67 miles an hour. So I went down there to fight it because I couldn't figure out what was going on.
Yeah.
I was doing maybe 62 at the most.
Yeah.
Which is 5 miles is a big difference. 55,
Yeah.
7 over, 6,
It is a
7
big
over,
difference.
for that.
In that case, yeah.
And the other car, the Cadillac passed by me,
Mm-hmm.
and it was after I went down and fought it, I finally realized that was the one that was speeding. Because when it was happened, he was coming up the other way
Uh-huh.
with radar.
Yeah.
And I was going this way on radar, and he went all the way up, got off on that, because there was no way to go. The median was like this, you couldn't go down because you would have just brought the front end down. So he didn't turn around at the median. So we just going under the overpass. He went to the overpass, came down, and that's why he was doing so fast trying to catch. Well, he caught me and not him. But I had a young guy, Judge was 35 years old like that.
Oh, wow.
He reduced it to unsafe speed rather than speeding.
Oh, okay.
Because I had a speeding ticket like a year before.
Yeah.
Most of my speeding tickets were really screwy. My first speeding ticket I got was I had the Cougar and my speedometer went out. So I went to Hyman Brothers, and they didn't have one, so they had to order one. This is a 1969 Cougar, and this is 18 years later. I was still driving it, whatever. Not 18 years later, but anyway. So I went down to Charles City near the airport,
Oh, yeah.
and there was this place down there, it was a tire place, and they put 4 new tires on my car. And it's the first time that I've had a speed balance or whatever like that, and the thing goes smooth as hell because I was driving, and they did a front end alignment, which is the big thing, the front end alignment.
Right.
So when I got used to get to 60 miles an hour, the steering wheel would go like this, being out of line. Just not like boom 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 boom, but just vibrate, just kind of vibrate a little bit.
Yeah. Wow.
So my parents, this is right after my dad lost the printing company, 1973, right after I graduated.
Mm-hmm.
And he was in Chicago, and Mom would fly up with him to Chicago and stay with him from somewhere around New Year's until the holidays. For like 10 months she'd stay up there.
Oh, yeah.
So we can't leave the car up there. They drove the car to the airport, so I take my friend to go pick the car up. And I just got onto 64, going to the airport. And I wasn't on there more than 1 or 2 miles when I realized I went by this car. I was in the left lane and we were talking, and also I just went by this car, and I went, man, this thing's really riding smooth like that. I don't know how fast I'm going because I don't have a speedometer. So I looked at my rearview mirror to pull in and slow down, and the policeman was right behind me.
Yeah.
So
Screwy.
So I went and said, because I felt it should be improper equipment rather than speeding, because then
Oh, yeah.
I wasn't on there that long and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah.
So I went to the court. First time I've ever been in court. It's the first time. I'm 26 20, after probably 22,
Yeah.
23. Maybe a little over that. Because
Right.
I got the car after I got back from things, so it might have been 4 years. So I might have been 26.
Yeah.
The other time I was probably I was probably 27, 28. But I went to court. I'm sitting there in court waiting for my time, and the other young kid gets up in front of me, and he states his case and everything like that. And it's all like 11. It's getting close to 11:30. I've been there since like 9, sitting there while all these other cases go by. First they go ahead and anybody wants to play guilty. They take those first, and they walk up and take care of all that first, and they want to do it.
Yeah.
So I never, talked to a judge or anything before, So I'm sitting there, and this young kid goes like that, and he says guilty, and he says $55 plus fine and whatever, $25, $28 fine. It wasn't as much back then, of course, as it is now. And the kid went to write a check, and the judge says, "We don't take checks," and that's all I had. I didn't have any cash.
Oh
on me.
no.
So they called for a recess for 15 minutes before they were going to break for lunch.
Mm-hmm.
And I figured I said, well, 15 minutes, So I left the courthouse, went to the bank, got the bank, came back, at 1 o'clock. It was 12. They recessed, I don't know, for 15 minutes from 11:30 to quarter to 12, and then from 12 to 1.
Oh, okay.
Well, I went up to the thing. They had a bench warrant out for me because they called my case, and I didn't show. Because in that 15 minutes that I went to take the chance on the thing, so I went to the stenographer and the court stenographer, or the court clerk or whatever like that, and I explained what I was doing because I didn't have any cash. I went to get cash, and in case I was found guilty, and so they called my case right away, and he was like, "How do you play?" I said, "Not guilty." He says, today's thing, and I gave up. On the day in question, my speedometer was broken, and I didn't even get a chance to even bring in the 4 tires and the thing.
Mm-hmm.
And the funny thing about that is they would bang, guilty, pay the fine, kind of thing,
Right.
which I thought was ridiculous.
Yeah.
Because right before that, there was a guy went up there. This is when I realized if you're gonna get a speeding ticket like that, I got a reckless driving ticket, and I took my friend's his brother went to law school, so he went with me on that, and I got that dismissed on the reckless driving. But I didn't get it dismissed, but I got to go to driving school. I had the thing. And that was bullshit too.
Right.
But the guy, and I worked in the area that he was. It was on Palm Road near Route 1.
Oh, nice.
And if you come down there, there's a stop sign, and you get onto Route 1 from Skipworth.
Yeah, Parham.
No, not Palm. Onto Palm.
Yeah.
Shoot.
All right.
Anyway, you have to get on there. And I knew where the stop sign was, and this guy got a speeding ticket, not a speeding ticket, failure, rolling stop, failure to stop at a stop sign,
Oh, yeah.
He had a lawyer with him, and the lawyer goes, "How do you plead?" And the lawyer turns to the client, and he goes, the client says, "Not guilty," and he said, the judge says, "Okay, what do you have to say?" or something like that, and the lawyer turned to him and nodded at him. And this guy went into this whole thing about that he was following his daughter, and he never did say whether he stopped or not. I mean, this whole, it was a 15-minute thing about how he was following his daughter like that, and
Yeah.
At the end of it, everybody in the courtroom that was listening to this knew that he was guilty,
Yeah.
but the judge dismissed it because he brought a lawyer. You see?
Oh, yeah.
And see, judges are former lawyers, and so this is the boys' club. That you,
the system.
if you the system, right? If you
Yeah.
if you hire a lawyer and you're helping out a fellow lawyer,
Yeah, he
that's
wants
when I
to-
realized That's when I realized that's why they put the blindfold on the scales of justice.
Right.
That's why I figured that's why they put the blindfold on, because it's
helping him
you
out.
Might as well, you might as well just as well do that.
Padding his stats.
And me, I got a bench ward out, so and I didn't get it. I got to say, like, I didn't have my speedometer was broken on that. I mean, I didn't even get to finish the sentence.
Wow.
I didn't get to finish the sentence because first of all, I guess he's
Guilty.
pissed off because I was I wasn't there when it happened.
Oh,
I
yeah.
had a excuse of that. I didn't,
Yeah.
because they said that they'll take your license. Well, if they take your license, you can't get in the car and drive to get the money.
Yeah.
It's really stupid. I go
Yeah, it
like,
is. It is.
So
Well,
so I've had I
Stark,
found out it was
well,
quicker to go
at the
I-10. You come down, you get I-10, and then you hit 301. And 301 is like you go through these little cities.
That's the name of the city, Stark, Florida.
Stark, Florida. I'll never forget it.
Where's that near? You remember?
Nothing.
Nothing. It's just
No,
kind of.
that's what I said. Let me tell you about the police officer. I'm going down, and it's 65 miles an hour. When you get to the city, it's 55, and then you go back up to 65 miles an hour. Okay.
Yeah.
So I had it set on. I had the speed control set on 60, and this was the first time I'd gone that way. I still went that way because it was still much faster. It cut off a lot of time because you hit 75 and then you go down to Tampa. That's where I was going to.
Yeah.
And we're coming along. My mom was
Tampa. Wow.
doing something about astrology like that, and we're trying to figure the signs. The signs. And we forgot one. I said, "Well, there's a newspaper right here," and I was coming up, and we're in woods. It's two lanes, no traffic.
Yeah.
Going along like this,
Yeah.
and I coming up, and it was curving. It was a curve to the right, and so I was kind of looking up there, and I said, "Well, here, look at the paper." Like that. I picked the paper up like that. I came around the curve, and there's this sign that is from here to the ceiling that says 55 miles an hour, and I'm talking about 1/10 of a mile. You come around, you don't see
Oh, wow.
anything, and you come around,
Yeah.
and all of a sudden there's the sign, and you see I mean, people would come around and naturally brake, right?
Yeah.
But they would naturally brake.
Of course.
But this cop was sitting right next to the sign. That's why they called it a speed trap, because he was sitting right next to the sign. And as soon as I passed the sign and hit the brake, I just pulled over because I knew it was a speed trap. I mean, I didn't even wait for him to come out.
Oh,
and
wow.
do it. I just went down and pulled over, and he came out. I mean, he was coming out as a
And And
I
you'd
knew
never
it.
been that way before.
Huh?
You'd never been there before.
No.
You just saw it and you knew it was a speed trap, so you pulled over.
Yeah, I mean, because of how quick it was. I mean, you're talking about from here to the door. I mean,
Yeah.
you don't have time to hit the brake. You don't have time to slow down enough unless you actually slam on the brakes to get down
To get down to the
55
right speed.
miles an hour.
Yeah.
You can't get down to 55 miles an hour in the time it takes. I mean, you're talking about woods like this blocking your thing, and you come around the curve, and you come around the woods, and all of a sudden, where the exit sign is, there's a big 55 mile an hour sign. You got the thing set on cruise control at 67. There's no way you're getting down to 55 miles an hour.
Did you try to explain that to him?
Oh no, there was no explaining it to him. I knew. I come up, and he has the thing like that, and and I go like, well, this is really. Well, I did say I was kind of pissed. I mean,
this is
probably
BS.
I was probably borderline in a redneck place like this of getting, probably throwing in,
Yeah.
just get out of the car type thing.
Yeah.
And I'm going like,
the hell is
don't you
that?
think there should be some kind of warning? He says, well, there's signs, that tell you to reduce speed. Ahead.
Were there?
Well, I don't know because I was looking down at the
okay,
thing like this, like that. So, but he says there's signs like, okay, reduce.
Yeah, but you did it when you saw this.
Well, that's what I'm talking about. They wanted the money. This is Stark. This is
Yeah.
for them to get money. This is
Stark.
This has nothing to do with it. Because first of all, I got Virginia's plates on. Because I didn't even fight it. I mean, I could have gone down and filed it and said, well, this is what happened. I probably would have won. It would have cost me more money to go down there and back in gas, plus missing a day of work, and and still maybe be found guilty. I mean, it wasn't. That's what they know. They know for out of state, that's not worth. That's not going to be worth people to go down there. It was $130, but I was going to spend more than $130 to go down there and try to fight
back.
it.
Yeah.
And there was no guarantee I was going to win. Especially if it's a speed trap. They'd be like boom, boom, boom. So I'm going like really like that. So he hands me the ticket, the thing, and he hands me like this, and he's got these burn marks.
Really?
Yeah, burn. You know what they're from?
What?
It's from going to bars. My friend used to do this when he got really drunk. He's from Mechanicsville. And you go to bars and you play chicken, and you put your forearm against the forearm like that, and you drop a cigarette down there and see who moves first. And that's what these burn marks were. I go like, oh, so I'm dealing with a true redneck.
True
True redneck and stuff like that, So I was so pissed off. I went down through the light where it didn't say any sign about it. No U-turn or anything. Turned around and I went back out to find out where the sign.
Yeah.
I went back up to find the sign. Thinking about that, I might, if I was pissed off.
Okay,
so I go, I turn around and go back up towards Richmond.
Yeah.
and turn around and come back, and there's one sign right before you turn. It says reduce speed ahead with all these tree things in front of it. I mean, you can see it's a sign, and if you go slow and you're looking for it, you can see the bottom or the five. I mean, it's just covered. It's basically covered with crap.
Right.
So I come back that way. I go up to Gainesville. That's where University of Florida is.
Mm-hmm.
They got a thing called the Club Risque down there. I'm sure it's just full of University of Florida completely nude strippers. But I had my mom with me, so I never was able to do anything about that.
Bummer.
Yeah. So I go back. Coming up to Stark, you can see the lights. It's a straightaway. When you come out, when you do this and you come out of Stark, there's no trees hardly at all.
Yeah.
And you come down and you go straight away. Coming back up, there's 4 signs: reduce speed ahead, reduce speed ahead.
Oh my God.
And you can see the city. I mean, you know you got to reduce speed ahead because you can just actually see the city. There's 4 signs this way. There's 1 sign coming the other way, and it's covered. I go, yeah. So I've had speeding tickets, but I'm telling you what, I don't think I was guilty on any one of them.
Yeah.
You know.
Doesn't sound like it.
No. You know, it's like Wow,
those
I'm
bastards.
a pretty safe driver, and I usually try to really do inside the speed limit or whatever.
Me too, yeah.
And all mine have been like, what?
I know.
I get caught in the number Reader's Digest for America, number 5 in the top 5.
Yeah,
of
I know.
all,
I know. Of all the cities.
all the states of all this little
Stark, Florida. Those bastards. Yeah. So what you're saying is not worth it. Is that what you're telling me? Don't worry.
No, you don't have to unless you were out of town.
No, it was, well, like I said, up here at where Phil works. Yeah.
Well, it could be a speed trap, but you know.
Yeah.
But you come up to the top of that hill doing 45 miles an hour, and there's a light. If you catch the light, you come down a hill like this. I mean, you come down a hill that's like,
Yeah.
and I'm taking my foot off the gas.
Is that after you cross Rio, the river?
No, this is before the river.
Oh.
And
Okay.
there's always a policeman at the bottom of this thing
Uh-huh.
because unless you hit your brakes, there's
Yeah.
no way that you slow down.
Right.
And you'll by the time you get to the bottom, if you're doing if you're doing 45
Uh-huh.
or if you're doing like 49
Right.
and
Okay.
if you're doing like 49, by the time you get to the bottom of the hill, you're doing 56, and that's if you take your foot off the gas.
Oh yeah, it does kind of go like.
It goes downhill. I'm
Slow.
talking about a big hill.
Right.
But they always put a car right there, coming downhill to catch people.
Yeah.
I mean,
They
because
know
other
the-
than that, people would be, normal. So I'm sure that people have gone to that and said, well, there's a big hill there, and the guy goes, that doesn't make any difference.
Yeah.
And
That's just. So...
but from what you're telling me, I reckless driving that I had to go to what's it called for. I just got my Camaro.
Oh well.
It wasn't a Z28, but it was had the T-tops, lures on the back and like that. Real snap blue. I was coming out of the 7-Eleven right down here on Glenside. There's a 7-Eleven. Well, it's not a 7-Eleven now because they moved it. They closed it and moved it up to Broad Street, but it used to be down behind here next to the apartments. Go down to that light right there and make a right.
Oh yeah.
There's a thing.
I know what you mean.
Well, I was in there,
So,
and when you come out of there, there's trees and stuff, and there's a curve, just like the one down at Stark kind of thing, right?
yeah.
So I'm coming out of there with the thing, and I'm looking, I'm looking to the left, and I'm kind of pulling out. It is nighttime. I'm trying to look for, see if I can see headlights. Well, I turn, and all of a sudden I see a car coming.
Wow.
So I hit the gas, and in order not to do it. Well, I'm listening to the radio. The radio's turned up a little bit, and all of a sudden I hear this. I went, shit, what's that? I took my foot off the gas. I thought maybe the guy had to slam on his brake to keep him hitting me or something like that. And I didn't know what to do at first. And I said,
Yeah.
well, that's me. My tires squeak. I get down to Skipwith, the light down there to turn left. Hungry. That's the one I was talking about. Hungry coming out to Palm Road. It comes all the way out Hungry
Springs. Yeah.
I'm getting ready to turn left on Skipwith. And all of a sudden, I see this car coming bad out of hell. I went, what the hell? What the? And the light's red, so I'm sitting there. And it turns green, all of a sudden the lights come on. So I pull through the intersection and go down there like that. And the guy goes like, you broke your axle, you squealed your tires. And I swear to God, there was no cop car in the vicinity. It wasn't like one sitting there like that, and I squealed in front of him, right? So I don't
Yeah.
know where he came from. I have no idea where he was,
Mhm,
you know,
mhm.
to hear this. I think he was in the shopping center behind the Lucky, you know, the one behind it where the used to be the billiards place.
Oh yeah.
You know, I think he was sitting in that shopping center.
Yeah.
Maybe. And
I know that place.
so, he goes, "You broke tires. That's reckless driving." I go like, "Reckless driving?" I said, you know, but when you come out of 7-Eleven, it's got one of these, it's got, you know, it's like this and like this. So
Yeah,
it's, you know how it's one of those things,
I
and
know.
it gets sand in it. It gets some sand in it. So when
yeah.
I hit the gas, it skid on the sand and then it squeaked on the road.
Yeah.
So I go like, well, I never got above 35 miles an hour. I mean, I can't believe it. I mean, it's not like I was like standing on the brakes and squealing the tires and then like racing somebody.
Right.
And I said something like that, and he says, "Oh well, there's like 18 foot of black, you know, tire marks, rubber. It's like 18. There's like about 18 feet of rubber, car length of rubber.
Yeah.
It's like a car length of rubber, you know,
It is.
or more back there, you know, where you squealed your tires." And so I was going home, and I'm really upset because I go like, I mean, it lasted like 3 seconds, 4 seconds. I mean, it, you know. So I call my lawyer, my friend's lawyer.
Oh, okay.
And he goes like, "Well, go and take pictures of the intersection." I said, you know, well, no. What happened was I got back in the car. I got home and was so upset. I got back in the car like I did at the start and drove back up to the 7-Eleven and got out of the car and looked in the pavement. There was not a mark on it. There wasn't a mark on it.
Oh my gosh.
Wasn't any rubber, nothing like that. So I call the lawyer and he says, "Well, go get a camera and take pictures." So I go and there's one of those electrical things that you can get, the phone things, those square things that you can get
Okay.
up on that you. So I got up on top of the thing like that and I took pictures, you know, like that.
Yeah.
So we go to court and the police officer's there, Kamala's attorney's there.
Yeah.
So he goes like, judge goes, "Okay, what happened?" He says, "Well, the police officer goes like, oh, I saw Mr. O'Donnell come out of the 7-Eleven and he broke traction and left a smoking rubber on the ground." And there's Barry's got the pictures and it's like this, and Barry goes like this and folds his pictures down, looks at the thing like that, and looks at me, you know, like,
Yeah.
some of which is lying right through his fucking
Of course.
bald face lie,
Of course.
bald face
Uh-huh.
lie.
Yeah.
So, so Barry goes like, well, when he came out and, you know, since he was turning and he squealed tires, did he you know, do this? No, he went into a thing like that. He said, did he get up to like 50 miles an hour? No, it wasn't anything like that, you know, like
Yeah.
that. Just road traction, did that like that.
Wow.
So Barry goes like, puts these, you know,
Oh.
into evidence, you know,
Oh,
takes
yeah.
the pictures and puts them into evidence, showing no tire marks on the road at all. None.
Mm-hmm.
This was Thursday. I went and took the pictures on Saturday, I think it was.
Yeah.
2 days later. No weather, you know.
Yeah.
No weather or anything. And the Commonwealth attorney was like, "Oh well, you know, they could have. Tire marks last for
Lord.
I mean
Years.
for 6 months. I mean,
Yeah.
they'll still be there.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
they don't go away if you burnt rubber on a tire thing like that.
Uh-huh.
So I'm going like, I feel pretty good about that. He finds me guilty.
Oh my God.
Guilty because I broke traction. Even though he talked about the sand. He asked me a question about that. I said, "Well, it's like sand down there." I
Yeah.
said, I heard the squeal and it wasn't even. I mean, I didn't even. You know, I took my foot off the gas almost as soon as I heard it. I was afraid of the car coming and, you know, and stuff like that. You know, and I hadn't had the car but 3 months. You know, so I didn't know that the power of it. You know, like that that it would kind of do that. Actually, I've heard people do that come out of 7-Eleven many times.
Yeah.
Doing that. So he told me to go ahead and so what reckless driving would be on my record to take it into district court, out of the traffic court, into district court, appeal it like that.
Yeah.
We went in there and told the same story again,
Yeah.
and he found me guilty.
Oh man.
And then he suggested, well, if you go to driver's school, you know, we'll take it off, you know, we'll take it off
Really?
your thing, you know, like that.
Yeah.
And I'm going like, so I paid him $500, $250 for each thing, which is really cheap, you know, because he gave me the best friend thing.
Yeah.
plus driver's school, and I still was found guilty when I had pictures showing that I
Evidence.
left no
Photographic evidence.
graphic evidence.
Yeah. Sounds familiar. Yeah, that's
What happened to your other? What happened to your two other speeding tickets? You said a couple.
hey, like I had one like 10 years ago and just paid it. It was
Yeah.
it was ticky tack. It was like 77 and a 70.
Oh, they never do that. I
Never.
mean, you could have fought that one easy.
Right.
You could have
Yeah,
fought
think-
that one easy, probably.
Oh no, I think it was.
They're not supposed to charge you
Oh,
down there.
drag
It
race?
It was 2 lanes.
Yeah.
There was a light there. You look to the right, nothing but woods. Look to the left, nothing but woods, and you can see Southside Plaza glow over there. There was nothing there. This was
Wow.
this was 19. I was probably 17, so this was 1968, 69.
Wow.
Signs, all corners, for sale.
Mhm.
Land for sale.
Before,
all
yeah,
around it.
before.
3 years before they built Cloverleaf
Oh, it
Mall.
was.
You know,
Yeah.
if I had a time machine, you know, like they talked about going back and
Yeah.
finding bed, I'd go back and buy those 4 corner lots. I mean, it was, you know, I don't know, you could sell them for $1 million. You could have got whatever you paid for them. You could have
Mhm.
made, you could have gotten to be a millionaire off of
Oh
them.
no.